Record numbers of basketball fans filled arenas to watch the rookie seasons of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese unfold. Simone Biles captivated the world at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Coco Gauff made women's tennis history. It was all part of a pivotal year for women in sports, financially and culturally, and after a steady rise in popularity and reach in recent years, the women's game is more valuable than ever. Clark's just moved the needle of the global movement of women in sports, said softball great and Olympic gold medalist Jenny Finch, and what a thrill it's been to be able to see her rise. The consulting firm Deloitte estimated in November 2023 that women's sports would generate more than $1 billion in global revenue this year for the first time ever, which the company said is up about 300% from its last estimate in 2021. Skyrocketing viewership and corporate sponsorships were major factors. The WNBA in July signed a historic 11-year media rights deal with Disney, Amazon Prime and NBC valued at about $200 million, a jump from about $60 million currently. Players hope higher salaries and a greater share of revenue could be on the horizon as parity, star power and competition in the WNBA continue to grow. The WNBA had its most watched regular season in 24 years and best attendance in 22 seasons, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said in a recent State of the League address that players are getting a lot more marketing deals, turning them into household names. That includes Las Vegas star A'ja Wilson, who had one of the most dominant seasons in WNBA history, and Clark, who set numerous rookie records. The decisive Game 5 of the WNBA Finals between the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx drew an average of 2.2 million viewers, peaking at 3.3 million, which made it the most watched WNBA game in 25 years. We've been growing in popularity, endorsements, media rights, all of those things, said Amira Rose Davis, a sports historian and assistant professor at the University of Texas at Austin. This period is one of rapid acceleration, Davis continued, where all that growth seems to switch into overdrive, where the deals are getting bigger, where the visibility is stretching out. Clark, the sharpshooting Indiana guard, became a phenomenon when she played at Iowa, capitalized on a foundation laid by hoops stars such as Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, and Wilson, and turbocharged the visibility of women's basketball. Ticket sales to Indiana Fever games were up 182% in 2024 from the previous season. The Fever also shattered the attendance record of 13,398 set by the Liberty in 1998 with around 16,084 tickets sold per game. And games featuring Clark and her on-court rival Reese of the Chicago Sky prompted social media debates about basketball, race, and culture. Something that I always tried to do with me was rise and elevate the game, said Finch, now an advisor for the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. And that's what Clark's doing and her teammates. And just to be able to watch her do it and how humbly she does it, and the impact of not only domestic women's basketball, but women's athletics globally. It's a dream. While many point to the WNBA as a blueprint for success in women's sports, accomplishments in 2024 went far beyond one league or athlete. Gauff, the 20-year-old tennis superstar, was the world's highest-paid female athlete this year with $30.4 million in earnings, according to Sportico rankings. Gauff could not defend her 2023 U.S. Open title, but ended her 2024 season with a WTA Finals title and a $4.8 million check, the biggest payout ever for a women's tennis event, per Sportico. The Olympics neared complete gender parity for the first time among the more than 11,000 men and women who competed in Paris this summer. More than 34 million people across all NBC platforms in the U.S. watched Biles exorcise the demons of her surprising exit from the Tokyo Games 3 years earlier. The 27-year-old shared a message of resilience and redemption as she added 4 gold medals to her resume. Nearly everything she did in Paris made headlines, a clapback at social media trolls, a revelation about her mental health, a moment of triumph. Her TikTok showing Team USA's gold medals from team competition has more than 139 million views. She became a symbol, Davis said. Whether you wanted to symbolize her as persevering, or talking about mental health or refusal, the politics of refusal, or whether you wanted to symbolize her as being a quitter, being everything that you're bemoaning about the country. Either way, both projections elevated her even more. And as Goff and Biles soared, other women's leagues leveraged that visibility. The Pro Women's Hockey League brought in 392,259 fans during its inaugural regular season, highlighted by a women's hockey record crowd of 21,105 at the home arena of the NHL's Canadiens for a Montreal-Toronto matchup. The league also reached sponsorship deals with Scotiabank, Air Canada, and Hyundai. The PWHL's strong first season showed its organizers and players that there's an appetite for women's sports, so much so that there are hopes to expand from 6 to 8 teams in 2025. For many of us that have been in the game for so long, it's emotional to think about where the games come from, where we've come to, said Jana Heffert, the league's senior vice president of hockey operations. We spend a lot of time reading research and all these things that suggest the time is now and that the fandom is there. And to be able to live that and feel it in real time was pretty special. Caitlin Clark is getting real about the ups and downs of being a basketball star at a young age on the latest episode of New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce. Women's Health can exclusively reveal that Caitlin will guest on the January 2nd episode of the show, hosted by NFL stars and brothers Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce. In a first-look clip from the episode, which you can watch above, the Indiana Fever guard opens up about getting her first recruitment letters from colleges as early as 7th grade. Travis refers to that as insane, and Caitlin agrees that the college recruitment process has gotten out of hand. She credits her parents, Brent and Ann, for keeping her grounded. "I feel very fortunate," Caitlin says, explaining that her parents would ask her brother to pick up the mail so that she wasn't bothered by recruitment letters. "They wanted me to be in 7th grade and enjoy middle school and hang out with my friends. Like, you shouldn't be worrying about where you're going to college." The 5-star recruit didn't take any college visits until after her freshman year, and didn't decide she would attend the University of Iowa until her senior year. "I was never in a rush," she says. "My parents did a really good job of making sure I have a good circle around me. It wasn't always about college recruitment." Even as a kid, Caitlin's talent was undeniable. As a middle schooler, she was playing with high schoolers. "I didn't really think anything of it," she says. "I was just going out there and hooping and having fun, and it's kind of just what came with it." In the years to follow, she'd become the NCAA Division I all-time leading scorer and the WNBA Rookie of the Year, breaking both the assists record and rookie scoring record. Back in April at the WNBA draft, Caitlin told WH she found therapy and working with sports psychologists super helpful as she rose to fame at Iowa. "It's such a stressful period of your life," she said. "You're 18 to 22 years old and trying to figure out which way your life's going to go while so many eyeballs are on you, and it can be difficult at times." She maintained then that her family and friends helped her stay focused on what's truly important, and she planned to keep it that way as she entered the pros. "I've never changed who I am," she said. "I'm still Caitlin Clark from West Des Moines, Iowa, and that will never change." As evidenced by her appearance on New Heights, she's still sticking to that. Caitlin is now the second female to guest on New Heights who isn't related to the Kelce brothers, the first being Travis Grotesquerie co-star Niecy Nash Betts on October 30th. She's also a lifelong fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, for which Travis plays tight end. Fans have long speculated that Caitlin would appear on the podcast, since she was spotted chatting with Travis back in November at his girlfriend Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in Indianapolis. Although there are still 5 months to go until the start of the 2025 WNBA season, Caitlin Clark can't wait any longer. The Indiana Fever guard has made the most of her first off-season, but a recent comment on Instagram made it clear that she is eager to return to the court. Clark had an exceptional first year as a professional. Not only did she break several rookie and overall records, but she was also a key piece in the team's return to the postseason after an 8-year absence. After being eliminated in the first round of playoffs, the former Iowa Hawkeye dedicated herself to enjoying a well-deserved rest, attending several college basketball games, NBA games, and even some NFL games. However, a Fever Instagram post reignited the competitive fire in Clark. Regarding Caitlin Clark honored as AP Female Athlete of the Year following her impact on women's sports, December 24th, I get why Donald Trump was picked for Time's Person of the Year, but if we look back, this was clearly a year of women's impact. Caitlin Clark and others transformed viewership of women's collegiate and professional basketball. Taylor Swift completed a tour with unheard-of economic impacts and became a cultural sensation wherever she went, including at sports events. American women represented us well in the Summer Olympics. Despite a short, 107-day presidential campaign, Kamala Harris won an impressive percentage of the popular vote, only 1.5% short of Trump. I salute the excellence of women's impact on 2024, and I hope the Chronicle and other media will recognize their many accomplishments. Regarding should Texas force homeless people with mental illness into treatment? Not without housing. Editorial, December 30th. A woman parks her grocery cart with all of her belongings next to a fast food restaurant. She has gray, stringy hair. She wears flip-flops and a long, loose gown that is soiled and faded. From my table inside the restaurant, I see her, hunched over, through the window. She enters and makes her way to a trash receptacle. She retrieves a leftover hamburger in its wrapper and a partially full drink cup with a lid and straw. She sits down quietly and begins to eat. Finally, she gets up from her booth, gathers her food and shuffles out. No one in the restaurant says or does anything for her. I feel like I just committed a sin of omission and did nothing either. Rosemary Kennedy, one of President John F. Kennedy's sisters, was institutionalized following a disastrous lobotomy surgery to cure her mental illness. He knew firsthand the devastating effects that can occur if humane and compassionate action is not taken for those truly in need. Commission or omission, with government aid for the homeless who are stricken with mental illness? Regarding bird watching has health benefits. Here are tips to get you started. To say we are disappointed by the news in the Saturday print edition that the Houston Chronicle is discontinuing the Nature Report by Gary and Kathy Adams Clark would be a huge understatement. This is one of the few columns that we enjoy the most. Their concern for wildlife in general and birds specifically is an opportunity for people to learn more about the importance of nature in our environment. You seem to espouse the importance of clean air and water, and we believe the preservation of nature is an integral part of that. I was very sad to see that the Clark's column was ending in the Chronicle. For years I've looked forward to starting every Saturday reading about birding and nature. It inspired me in my own birding, and was an important tool in learning about the seasonal changes of nature in Southeast Texas. I hope you find another columnist that can continue the exceptional job they did.